Hello students, in this video we will learn about the feminist poetics and feminist criticism towards the poetics. So here we are seeing picture of three feminists, Helen Sixers and Simone de Beauvoir and Elaine Showalter. These three are major feminists. Simone de Beauvoir has written existence precedes essence, hence one is not born a woman but becomes one in the second sex. Helen Sixers right, censor the body and you censor breath. And speech at the same time. Write yourself, your body must hurt. In the law of Medusa. And Elaine Showalter has written, in contrast to an angry or loving fixation on male literature, the program of gynocritics is to construct a female framework for the analysis of women literature and to develop new models based on the study of female experience, rather than to adapt male models and theories towards a feminist poetics. So this is the framework for the discussion, like feminist criticism. M.H. Abrams has said something. Simone de Beauvoir, he has said, one is not born but rather becomes a woman. Helen Sixers, so right, censor the body and you censor breath. J. Lacan, other of language, in that gap, desire is born. Julia Kristeva, foreignness of language, image of school textbook, or add on skin whitening cream on man and skin whitening cream on woman, etc. Star TV, Tui, there are some serials also. Like folk literature, daughter means a girl. So basically, Elaine Showalter is born in January 1941, and he's American literary critic, feminist, and writer on cultural and social issues as well. And she is one of the founders of feminist literary criticism in United States academia, developing the concept of and practice of gynocritics. Showalter is a specialist in Victorian literature and the fin de Sultan of the 19th century. Her most innovative work in this field is madness and hysteria in literature, specifically in women writing and in the portrayal of female characters. She's best known works are towards the feminist poetics, female melody, woman madness and English culture, sexual anarchy, gender at culture at Findesale, histories, hysterical epidemics and modern media, and the inventing herself, claiming a feminist intellectual heritage. So in 2007, Showalter was a chair of judges for prestigious British Literary Award, the Man Booker International Prize. Shoulder book Inventing Herself in 2001, a survey of feminist icons, seems to be the culmination of long time interest in communicating the importance and the understanding of feminist tradition. So Showalter is concerned by the stereotypes of feminism that see feminist critic as being obsessed with the phallus and obsessed with the destroying male artist. Showalter wonders if such stereotypes emerge from the fact that feminism lacks a fully articulated theory. So, in towards the feminist poetics, Walter divides feminist criticism in two sections: the woman as a reader or feminist critique, or the woman as a writer or gynocritique. The woman as a reader or feminist critique, the way in which the female reader changes our apprehension of a given text, awakening it to the significance of its sexual codes, concerned with the exploitation and manipulation of the female audience, especially in popular culture and film, and with the analysis of women as sign in semiotic systems. So, in this point, the woman as a right of gynocritics is say, in contrast to an angry or loving fixation on male literature, the program of gynocritics is to construct a female framework for the analysis of women's literature and to develop new models based on the study of female experience rather than to adapt male models and theories. Gynocritics begin at the point when we free ourselves from the linear absolutes of male literary history, stop trying to fit women between the lines of the male tradition, and focus instead on the newly visible world of female culture. So, some aspects of gynocritics, like it is not on a pilgrimage to the promised land in which gender would lose its power, in which all texts would be sexless and equals like angels. Rather, gynocritics aim to understand the specificity of women's writing not as a product of sexism but as a fundamental aspect of female reality. So, the prime concern is to see women as a producer of textual meaning with the history, themes, genre, and structure of literature by women. There is another point mentioned problem the otherness of language. Walter acknowledges the difficulty defining the unique differences of women's writing, which he says is a slippery and demanding task. In a feminist criticism in the wilderness, he says these points. And Julia Kristeva also mentioned, like she has mentioned earlier, otherness of a language. So Elaine Showalter, she describes phases of feminism as the feminine phase, feminist phase, and the female phase within these years. So the feminine phase is characterized by women writing in an effort to an equal and intellectual achievements of male culture. The distinguishing sign of this period is the male pseudonym, which exerts an irregular pressure on the narrative and affecting tone, diction, structure, and characterization. So this is the feminist phase starting from 19th century, early 19th century, where in women are historically enabled to reject the accommodating postures of femininity and use literature to dramatize the ideals of wrong womanhood. And this phase was characterized by Amazon utopias, visions of perfect female-led society of the future. This phase was characterized by women's writing that protested against male standards and values and advocated women's rights and values, including the demand for autonomy. And Helen Sixton mentions censor the body and you censor breath and speech at the same time. Then the female phase starting from 19th century, 1920. So women reject both imitation and protest and two forms of dependency and turn instead to female experience as a source of an autonomous art, extending the feminist analysis of culture to the forms and techniques of literature. So, rejecting both imitation and protest, Showalter advocates approaching feminist criticism from a cultural perspective in the current female phase rather than from perspective that traditionally came from an androcentric perspective like male dominant society and like psychoanalytic and biological theories. So, in this essay, in other essay, Feminist Criticism in the Wilderness, he says a cultural theory acknowledges that there are important differences between women as a writer, class and race, nationality, and history are literary determinants as significant as gender. Nonetheless, women's culture forms a whole collective experience within the cultural whole, an experience that binds women writers to each other over time and space. So I hope you like this video and the important points which she has mentioned, Ellen Showalter mentioned, and the periods of female writers and the female classicists and what they want to write and what problems basically female writers and there are division between the writers and critics also, and the term gynocritics means came from the discussion within the female criticism as well as the female society. So I hope you understand these points and please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.